absolutely on time, and that is the Kelly Writers House. However, we're not going to start quite on time. We have a few more minutes, so glad you're here. Relax, talk to each other, do your thing. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. Joan's just setting up our tech. Hello. Ooh, the lights are really...
Hello.
Hello. Hi. Welcome back to the Writers House. I'm Al Filreis.
I'm Simone White.
What's so funny about this?
It's just...
We are so happy to have had Joan this afternoon here visiting us, Joan Retallack. I guess we should start by putting our hands together and welcoming Joan Retallack back to the Writers House.
This afternoon we had a beautiful fellows seminar with Joan. I think it went stellarly well. And we were all so excited to share Joan with the 20 of us who were in fellow seminars studying Joan's works. I really couldn't have been more excited about that conversation.
Oh, you're turning it back to
I'm
me.
turning
Yeah.
it to you.
We have in the back, and this end of the living room, we have some of Joan's books for purchase. We are strictly nonprofit. In fact, we're very much less than nonprofit around here, which means that we are the price on the books are exactly what we paid for them, and anyway. Even if it were $100 a copy, you need to buy them. After the reading, you'll have a chance to buy a book, or if you brought your own. Joan has consented to, and will now consent again to, I think, to stay here. You consent to stay here and to greet you and inscribe your book. And in a minute, when Sophia Durose comes up here, where is Sophia Durose? Right over there. When Sophia Durose comes up, you will find out about a special treat that we have not only for Joan, but for everyone here. I think we have enough for everyone here, maybe close. And while we're pointing out Sophia Durose, I just want to say that Simone and I are incredibly grateful to this person who is in her first year as the coordinator of the Kelly Writers House Fellows Programs, Sophia DeRose.
We want to invite everybody to come back tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. for brunch here and for a conversation which will be recorded between Joan, myself, and Al. If you want a bagel and you want to hear us talk with Joan, please do come back to the Writers' House. We'll begin to talk at 10:30 tomorrow morning.
And if you haven't yet made a reservation for that, please do. You can just tell Sophia or me or Simone on your way out. We'd love to have you join us. We really do. That one starts right at 10:30, and it will finish probably at 11:35, and you are within your rights to leave at 11:30 to go back to work or whatever you have to do. So this is going to be a fun but very time-limited conversation.
Our very last introductory remark is that this is the first of 3 fellows visits. Our second visitor will be Jason Reynolds, who will be here March 27th and 28th. That's going to be mobbed, I think. And if you don't know Jason Reynolds, he's been the National Ambassador for Children's Literature. And you might want to reserve a seat for that one if you haven't already done so. You can reach out to Sophia in order to do that. Wayne Kestenbaum, who's equally awesome, but maybe not as
In the headlines.
world famous as Jason, will be here on April 24th and 25th, and we encourage you to come for that too. Wayne is an incredible writer and a really exciting presence too.
So a couple of things are going to happen next. Sophia is going to come up as promised and tell us about a special gift treat we have for Joan. And then Sophia is going to turn it over to William Stewart, who's a student in the class, who's going to do a proper introduction to Joan. And then Joan's going to give us an amazing reading. So Sophia DeRose.
Okay, I want to be clear. The books are not $100, so you should still buy them. But yes, thank you, everyone. I'm happy to be here, and I'm so happy y'all are here to celebrate this wonderful person and poet and scholar and philosopher and all these amazing things. All of us from the Kelly Writers House wanted to extend a small gift to you, but really it's a gift from the Common Press here at Penn, which is a really special letterpress and book art studio. My friend Mary did a phenomenal job making this broadside for you, and it reads, "What we need is dubious prototypes of difficult processes." So we wanted to give the first print of it to you tonight. And there are more available for everyone in the audience over where you buy the books. Again, not for $100.
Are you mocking me?
No, I would never do that. But yeah, that's enough for me. I'm so delighted you're here, and I'm glad everyone else is here too. But I'm going to turn it over to a wonderful student from the Fellows class, William.
I got you. Let's just do it this way. Slow, right?
Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here and that Joan Retallack is here with us today. It has been wonderful studying Joan's work with the Kelly Writers House Fellows Seminar this past month in preparation for her visit. I want to begin by saying thank you, Joan, for taking the time to join us today, spending 3 hours in discussion with us in the Fellows class and sharing your work this evening. Much of Joan's work engages in the Steinian project of cubistically juxtaposing linguistic fragments, which extend in implication past their irregular beginnings and ends, so that possibility blossoms from these phrasal junctures. Joan describes this possibility in her work when she says of John Cage's poem, "Art is either a complaint or do something else," there is a limitless proliferation of meanings. Think of it as a score. Think of the reading you are about to do as an exploratory, performative act that is but one of many possible realizations. In approaching Joan's book, Memnoir, which employs the cubistic compositional approach, The teachers and students in our fellows seminar engaged in collaborative, exploratory, close readings of the texts. It was exciting to see our class's conversational ensemble, whose collection of subjectivities means a multi-directionality of attention, participate in the unfolding of a poetry where possibility is condensed into moments of complexity. In the Poetical Wager, Joan emphasizes, quote, art's significance as, not just about, a form of living in the real world. In participating in our seminar's collaborative reading of Memnoir, it became clear that Joan's poetry serves as a score for a form of contemplation that is open to the complexity, ambiguity, and unintelligibility that we come across inside the poem and outside the poem. And it is that very openness that prepares us for the opportunities her work provides to reconfigure our habits of thought and shift our geometries of attention. A central theme in Joan's theoretical writing is the Epicurean clinamen, which she describes as a refreshingly alien element that skews business as usual, and as the improbable swerve that opens up new prospects, saving some portion of the world from the inexorable logic of its own precedents. The form of her poetry, by asking us to enact a manner of living that is open to unintelligibility, primes us for the concepts that are delivered by her choice of compositional materials and her use of them. Concepts that are not yet intelligible precisely because they lie outside our present way of thinking. Be it drawing attention in Memnoir to the mutability of our sense of self so that we might reconfigure our conceptualization to recognize the perforated and ever-changing nature of our subjectivities, or drawing attention in Errata Suite to the generative possibility of unexpected occurrences involving errors. Joan's writing consistently presents these chances to adjust our habitus. To close, I would like to read a passage from Joan's essay Geometries of Attention, in which she celebrates these Epicurean swerves as they appear in Robert Rauschenberg's White Paintings and John Cage's composition 4 minutes and 33 seconds. What seems at first empty becomes, with attention, so full one cannot take one's eyes off them. And with this realization comes another, that you don't need the paintings to have this experience. You needed them to show you the way, to stimulate your museum-quality attention, but what has enraptured you in the museum happens on every surface that refracts light. The geometry of attention inscribed in the art illuminates your experience of everyday life. All this is what Cage's redefinition of silence as ambient noise is about. The act of noticing turns it into sound that is, with a heightened quality of attention, transvalued into music, just as one comes into the realization that if this is music, then all of the audible world presents equally a musical occasion. For these opportunities to shift our geometries of attention and open ourselves to our world through Joan's work, I am sincerely grateful. It is my pleasure and honor to present our first Kelly Writers House Fellow of 2023, Joan Retallack.
Put this here.
So much.
Oops.
Sit.
Okay.
Tell me if you got the mic.
Okay, just a minute. Let me. I'm trying to rise to the occasion.
You're gonna bounce. How's that?
Well, actually, this is fine. Let me now put the book. Let me dry first the podium.
Oh, you happen to have something to dry it with.
Yeah, I do.
Now you won't be able to sneeze.
I'm trying
Zach
not to
is gonna-
sneeze. So.
Oh, I'm glad Zach's here because that's a Zach thing.
Hair raising, isn't it? Yeah, actually, I think you can tell me if this is working. I will now put on my reading glasses and see if all of this clears that. I think, actually, does this have to be quite that clear? I'm going to be leaning forward a lot, and this casts a shadow on the page. So yeah, this is much better. Thank you very much. I'll get started. This is going to be a reading in 3 parts. The first part will, actually this is the only text I'm reading from. And in between there will be something that I call an interlude that is a puzzle, or otherwise a puzzling interlude. And throughout this book, which is in sections, each of which has a Latin title, because I think of the whole book as actually being a book of a kind of secular liturgy. So as in the non-secular liturgy, there are guide rails to what's happening in each segment. And I will begin with a little aphorism that I live by. I'm so glad I ran across it. Humor without gravitas passes through the mind with little effect. Gravitas without humor is death. Joan Retallack. Bosch's, I didn't tell you the title of the book, sorry. Botching again. Bosch, Fables, Moral Tales, and Other Awkward Constructions. Bosch's The Garden of Earthly Delights was first documented in 1517 when the Italian canon Antonio de Beatis, accompanying the Cardinal of Aragon on a visit to Brussels, wrote in his journal that there are some panels on which bizarre things have been painted. They represent seas, skies, woods, meadows, and many other things, such as people crawling out of a shell. Others that bring forth birds, men and women, white and black, doing all sorts of different activities and poses. That's from Fiona MacDonald. In the Bosch Enchanted Garden, no color line is drawn. Commentary 106, Art Treasures of the Prado, 1954. And now to the almost first section, human. Human. The human is one of many humorous creatures rolled out in the evolution of this planet. Wholly animal, charismatically self-conscious, intellectually ambitious, emotionally feral, prone to abstraction, estrangement, hubristic fantasies, bitter depression, psychologically lethal, while imaginatively promising. The we that are human are no more, no less than part of nature. Nature is the whole of us, Denial of that has been our greatest folly. So to the first section, which is in loco, and I give the Latin, and then I irresponsibly translate it on the spot. The ventriloquist's dilemma. Birdsong entered our words and left with migratory echoes insufficiently dispersed. We are not designed to perceive most of what surrounds us or to fully understand the rest. Maybe it's true the nonlinear equations drove the teenager off the road. The self-propagating slope remains unhindered in its XY axis. It's always difficult to get these things rigorously. Sound waves break on the shore, making some feel unwelcome. And two, there's that conspicuous absence of real metaphor in nature. Sorry, I think I meant to say there's that conspicuous absence of real nature in metaphor. Someone will claim real is a misleading construct. Someone will claim night flew into a tree. Those 5 words in a line. Fierce love story. To start with a taxonomy impediment, and yet go on, looking always for news of another kind. Great saturated patches of color stall in their rumble toward the horizon. Squeeze tube dearth overflows with biblical pornography. No greater love, they had said. Sit back and watch in awe as one sophisticated critter eviscerates another on a color-coded screen. Much too bright, or not enough, to be convincing descriptions of nature. For the disillusioned, there are these three things. 1, sonorous cowboys hitch up primate dungarees. 2, to restore the consolation of silence will remain the role of objects. 3, 4 little girls, along with fragile creatures of other kinds, will wander in and out of this color field just beyond our grasp. Oops. The long and short of it, thought experiment. Feed long and short-beaked pigeons the same food. Exercise long and short-legged quadrupeds in the same manner. Expose long and short-haired sheep to the same climate. Direct every timeline toward the same set of nesting horizons. How long can the we and the they go on this way? One step takes longer than anyone thought possible and is still hovering in the air. The shadow is swelling with prophecy and indecision. Earth is growing hotter, colder, wetter, and drier. All the animals are on the move. Although the heart of the cruelty continues to elude our metrics, let any long or short lifespan exactly equal the same function of a divided by, of the same function of x divided by the violence of 0. You'll notice that the math is adding up to an old geometry of tragic spectrum. More than terror, less the pity. Is that the long and short of it? None too soon. Located in memories without precedent, fine stock of syllables not yet squandered in pliant confirmation. Don't be scared. The more non-existent of the gods are the only ones counting your blunders. Hard to forget what's never been known for sure. Yearning minds conjure thoughts bound to deform the musculature of the most determined smile. The only worthwhile thought experiment of which I'm currently aware is to construct a logical space-time bracket in which all of us, animal, mineral, vegetable, are sometimes dreaming. Elliptical ice terriers. Just as your blades describe an icy metaphysic of parallel curves, I will be your personal pronoun for the duration of this sentence. You will be my personal pronoun for the duration of this sentence. It's all about remaining in motion. Exquisite poetries and theories of everything propel flying spins, no hands, bicycle arias on the way home. More reciprocal alterity, more biomimicry, less blood sausage fealty, explosions of sweetest beauty. My child, why repeat what some poet or another has already said? We live our lives forever taking leave, when a custom-fitted speech act can be yours within 24 hours. With it, you can perform rites and ceremonies, weddings, baptisms, extreme unctions, forgiveness of sins, funerals, visit correctional facilities, get your own church. Anthropocenes, anthropocenities. A storm is slanted toward the trailer park. No immigrant ripple pith inescapable, the class of all things that can't entertain themselves. Upend would-be transcendence lurking here. Shine, Baukna, beacon. No ship won't go down in that Gesamtkunst stormy sea. Bacon sizzles on the non-stick pan. What is mean or meant in this? Who cares to know? One dimension grinds noisily past another in a routine demonstration. Proper response: enjoy the friction, avoid collision. Beautiful silver fish jumps out of water and explodes in air. Trans-nipple cue. Will some of us never be post-data? These long days, nights, are too mean, too hot, too cold, too wet, too dry for too many on this planet. And now on to another section, in loco scienta, or math and sci. Catastrophe theory. TV tonight. Magic. updated retro thriller starring Anne Margaret as former high school sweetheart of Anthony Hopkins, a demented ventriloquist tormented by his dummy. As suspense mounts, will the catastrophe theorist turn out to be the ventriloquist or his dummy? In the mathematics of catastrophe, a catastrophe set can be crossed freely in one direction. If crossed in the other direction, a catastrophe will occur. Beyond 6 external variables, the whole theory breaks down. "Silly dummy," says a precocious child who happens by. "You just thought that up on the spur of the moment." "Don't make it less true," replies precociously post-human dummy. "I am the 7th external variable." Okay, so then this is In Loco Tempus, or Nick of Time. And this is a 3-part piece that began at a Sappho colloquium that was held at Bard College, and was quite a wonderful event with worldwide esteemed Sappho and other Greek scholars. I was copying down some of the things that these scholars were saying, and I did copy them exactly. So when we get, which will be very quickly, to the remarks, they are all found or heard remarks. Notes from the Sappho colloquium. And this is a little aphorism of Joan Retallack. "Would Sappho be so beloved if she were a whole woman, more than a puzzle of scattered fragments?" 1. There is absolutely no external evidence for convivial gatherings of Athenian women. Exactly which fragments were fished out of crocodile mummies? This one seems entropically excised from a choral composition. In accordance with that ancient precedent, "Be gracious and help me," in accordance with your countless oars, a strong wind blows them in the right direction. You just can't pin down a Pindar. She doesn't have to rub it in again. An accomplished poet can always manage to change the subject. Nobody is prepared for a 6 interconnected infinitives leading to a prayer. The actual praying is usually done by an officiant. The daemon must be in the accusative subject. The gods that inhabit her poetry are gods who do nothing other than being gods. Here's a little punchline for an unnamed demon. She was, after all, singing. 2. Left on blackboard at colloquium's end. Has seized. White. Coda. Poikilos Sappho, your fragments set virgins to celebrate all night in shredded spaces. set moon and Pleiades to set in shedded spaces. All over this dark earth's euphoric voids, from which you have been long gone or never once were, to know the now of she who knew, not of I lie alone. I think we're probably ready for our puzzling interlude. Oops. I just...
Do you need the mic or not?
No, I don't need the mic. There will be... oops, I've got the wrong glasses. There will be nothing appearing. Is this visible for people all the way back? The lower part of the screen?
forward.
Let's see. I think, all right, so now, this time I'd like to get the shadow of this off of the, if we can do it. But
That
you,
might be a Zach joke.
yeah?
Is it this?
Oh, it is, maybe
It's the
it
water,
is possibly that.
Yep, I think we're good.
But yeah, that line will be, okay, so. Okay, so continuing this section, Nick of Time, a question of time arises to play the sun in a dark little paragraph like this one now unfolding. To say hallelujah for all that ancient experiments in space and time divulged so long ago. The humorous fact that time is nothing more than fricatives and twitchy ticks of nature's moving parts, made noticeable by habits of attention like this one, now inducing wee punctum's interruption of what another verbose sentence should know better than. Moral. A sentence is an interval during which, if there is a difficulty, they will do away with it. That's Gertrude Stein. Oops. In loco malum et alteritas, evil and others. Oops. Puzzling interlude, projectile legacies. And this actually, it begins with a quote from a young girl who was part of the race card project. I don't know if, have any of you heard of that? It was, I think it originated at Wayne State University. And it was something that was, I think, nationwide for a while. And this is a quote from one of the young participators in this, Nicole D. Riggs of Inkster, Missouri. Will they ever stop fearing us? How to think about future contingent possibilities of indigenous peoples caught in past perfected, present participling legacies of genocide and appropriation. How to think about future contingent possibilities of African Americans caught in past perfected, present participling legacies of white supremacy and slavery. How to think about future contingent possibilities of Palestinians caught in past perfected, present participling legacies of Nakba and occupation. Oppressors fear most those whom they oppress to the point of terror. This actually, for all who were talking about procedures earlier today, could go on and on and on. I mean, it's basically a structure to contain many, many peoples. And now, what I'm about to read comes from Misogyny Variations, which is a sub-part of the let's see, Evil in Others. Have to get that right. Actually, I got a lot of the spellings of words and the words themselves from derivations from ancient languages, and in this case, this is has some words that go back to Middle English. The history of being she, and she is spelled S-C-H-E, which I really love. I mean, that has a slice in it that is very nice. Women whisper among themselves, as industrious insects are wont to do, want, chronically conjoining to yielding and bestow. Yielding thereof to the chief lordess due, as she was wont all yielding to bestow other service that on their fruities do, was wont to fall that his good dame was wont to bestow the best room in her house, and him who here did lay his wants upon her yielding breasts. In loco post, oops, I'm sorry, I skipped something. I've lost a yellow paper, so I'm going to have to, here it is. And this, I actually want to thank Lainey Brown for having put together a gathering of writing that had to do with misogyny and near misogyny and even worse than misogyny for a grouping that she called Solidarity. And it was published a number of years ago, maybe 5 or 6 number, here at the marvelous place for getting to poetry in lots of different ways. So I wrote this actually specifically for that occasion. The history of being she, S-C-H-E, keyword iridescence. The tansy beetle, almost extinct, lives only in tansy plants. Victorians loved their iridescent wings for decorating women's garments. Rustling about in the dawn of one civilization after another, uncanny in the near visibility she shares with other iridescent creatures, butterflies, blowflies, moths, beetles, wasps, she learns how she must scintillate, the darkest shadows, beyond her own terror, with one sweet ephemeral after another. Her world was made for this before charm turned into strangeness. In one sodden domestic drama after another, and festering glamour reeked of sodden ecstasy in insect choruses, murmuring stealth logics, sing in praise of the many exotic species of she. Glamorous, opalescent, nacreous, shimmering, luminescent, glittering, sparkling, shining, gleaming, effulgent, lustrous, glowing, glistering, beguiling, enchanting. She was she, so sweetly she, so silently she, seductively sweet, enchanting she, nacreous she, shimmering she, so softly beguiling, softly demurring, seductively silent, silently sweet, glistering, weeping, still unyielding, softly demurring, lustrous, effulgent, silent, cursing, silently screaming, silently yielding, moaning, bestowing, sweetly bleeding, luminescently swelling, birthing, suckling, silently mourning, sorrowfully keening in swaying treetops, softly crooning in kitchens with mops, she, opalescent she, inconsolable she. And finally, in loco postscriptum, afterwards. These are very short. Exhaustion. The exhaustion of truth and language was so great, there was no way to know what one had to go on as one had to go on, going on. Pleasure. Pleasure comes unexpectedly. Happiness is a matter of will. Or is it the other way around? Thank you. Thank you.
Joan Retallack, everybody.
Oh, I don't know. Do you think there's enough time and energy?
We can take a question or two, and then we're going to wrap up. You have books. Joan will greet you and inscribe your book. So who's got a question?
Can
It's
I
always
move
hard.
this now so that I can actually...
Well, you won't be hurt. Well, sorry.
Oh, you mean this
Yeah.
is still being recorded? Sorry.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Comment or a question?
Huh?
Here's one from Julia Block.
It's okay. It was the reading that was impeded by the shadow.
This is a big question, I know, but just in case I can't make it tomorrow morning, can you talk a little bit about grammar and what, in that particular section, you knew grammar would allow you to do that you couldn't maybe do otherwise, if that makes sense? Like, why does the naming of the grammar, what does it make possible, or like why is it necessary, or what did it open up for you in what you needed to do with that piece of writing?
With which piece of writing?
In all of the moments in your reading in which you used the terms of grammar. In other words, you used the terms of grammar rather than other kinds of language.
Yeah, well, grammar, I think, is how we get along in life. You know, apart from sort of digging into the earth with our fingernails and planting seeds or something, it really is. It's our form of life, actually. You know, we have many forms of life. I mean, the famous language is a form of life, which is very true when Wittgenstein says it, and even when he's not saying it. But the fact is, we have many forms of life that actually do come up out of our ways of using words, and grammar is very much a directive to the ways we feel about things, and it's I also, of course, love Gertrude Stein's grammar. The way in which she has beautiful examples of sentences that leave people dumbfounded, but that actually make something really worth happening as you go along.
Thank you for the question and the answer. We have time for one more question. Who's got that question or response? Dumbfounded, I think. You just said.
Oh, no.
No, in the best way. Well, thank you, Joan Retallack, one more time.
No.
And
Well, thank you. Great audience.
I also wanted to point out that Erica Kaufman is here, and Erica escorted Joan from Bard down to here, and we're so grateful, and welcome Erica Kaufman back to the Writers' House.
Yes.
Tomorrow we're back, and Simone and Joan and I will be sitting at a table, and we'll be doing nothing but questions and comments and discussion and conversation. And we start off with a brunch at 10 o'clock, and at 10:30 we'll be in here for that conversation. We really hope you'll join us. For the next few minutes, Joan will be here to greet you in the other room, and please stay, hang out as long.
Can I just
Yes.
say that I am so grateful for the beautiful introductions, and thank you very much.
William Stewart.
William Stewart, yes.
That was really amazing. Thank you all. Have a good night. We'll see you in a few minutes with your books. See you tomorrow morning. I can move this. Do you have a